Alright, so in sort of a preview, I'm just seeing how I haven't seen this on camera before, so I'm just kind of checking that out. Kind of cool. Alright, I didn't even see myself in the mirror wearing this gear, or this getup, so kind of cool. Alright, Columbus is in New Jersey tonight. That's the first game of the day. Columbus, of course, lost to New Jersey in their last meeting, which put New Jersey in first, which makes this a big game for Columbus. This is their standing overall in the league. So number 9, Columbus, number 7, New Jersey, just to give a better, because, you know, I realize that it's still early in the season, but looking where people stand overall gives you an idea of which teams are actually having pretty solid seasons. And of course, you're going to get into games in hand. This is whatever. It's just another way of looking at it. And then attendance I've got in here too for the home teams. There will be a video on attendance coming up. I'm either going to do that today or I'll do that tomorrow. I'm thinking today. 14,831 fans per game in New Jersey, which is low considering the fact that the Devils are off to a 16-7-4 start. It's funny how Jersey doesn't get mentioned very much when it comes to attendance issues, and yet there have been attendance issues along the way. There's been some signs that they'll support the team if it's in a better spot, better building, when their record's better, but overall the results are still kind of middling considering, I mean, it's Jersey. So get out there and support what is probably the best logo of the current logos in the NHL. I say that knowing there's a logo video on my channel, and I'm probably disagreeing with myself. It's sometimes what I do. Okay. Buffalo and Chicago. So the Blackhawks, who are 22nd. Forsberg's the likely starter. Now, the site I was looking at said Crawford's the starter, but Crawford's supposed to be back on Sunday in every other report I've read. For Buffalo, it's likely Robin Leonard. They haven't confirmed that, but I can't see Johnson in this game. Really, the 31st rated, 31st overall, 31st on pretty much everybody's chart, and the overall standings, Buffalo Sabres need win. They've got it just for the sake of their own pride. And for Chicago, you have to win this game. You're 22nd overall. You're 12-11-5. This season is starting to look like it might be lost for Chicago in terms of being a contender, and very soon those playoff hopes start to fade as well. Can't lose this game at home against Buffalo. Chicago's home attendance, 21,548 per game. They're drawing almost 7,000 more per game in Chicago. I know there are reasons for that. No problem with the reasons for that. But still, it is a startling difference in terms of revenue being generated between these two teams. Now, that being said, let us get into Minnesota and Anaheim. The Minnesota Wild come in 13-11-3. Ducks are 12-11-6. The Wild are 21st overall. The Ducks are 19th. Both of these teams are disappointed with how their season's going so far. Attendance-wise, Anaheim's at 16,133, which isn't bad. I know there's people that make comments about Anaheim not supporting the team. I don't see it. Again, this is 11 or 1,300 more than Jersey's pulling per game. So they're generating more revenue, even though their record is a lot less than what Jersey's is. Gibson's the likely starter. Dubnyk's the likely starter for Minnesota at the time I'm recording this. Those haven't been confirmed. For many, this is a big game because this is a beat-up Anaheim team. Minnesota, a team that is no longer a beat-up team, mildly, needs to take advantage of the fact that Anaheim's undermanned. So I would look for probably another 40 shots against Gibson tonight. I'd look for him to be under siege again, because Anaheim allows at least 40 shots in a lot of games. Gibson's going to be one of those goaltenders by the end of this year that prefers to face 40 shots because it's what he's used to. And he won't like those games where he only faces 25 and he has a lot of time to get to stand around and think about it. There are goalies that do that too. Curtis Joseph being the biggest example I can think of. And Currently playing Roberto Luongo is much like that too. He plays better if he faces more shots early and regularly. So there you go. Personally, I think this is a big game for Anaheim too, because even though you do have all those injuries, and you can say, well, we're injured, so if we're losing games, we can point to injuries. You don't want to be digging your way out of that giant chasm, and they're in the running for a playoff spot because they're in the Pacific. If they were in the Central, I'd already be writing them off. I'd already be saying, well, they're not going to make it. But because they're in the Pacific, absolutely, they can get one of those top 3 spots. They can. They can absolutely get one of those top 3 spots. So we'll see what happens there with the Ducks and the Wild. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Nashville Predators, on the other hand. The surprisingly 8th overall Vegas Golden Knights are in Nashville against the number 4 overall Predators. This is a meeting of a Vegas team that's overachieved and a Nashville team that has started to become what we thought they were at the start of the year. And I honestly have no idea how this one's going to go down because it's Vegas. Vegas on the road is different than Vegas at home. Vegas at home is pretty darn near unbeatable. Vegas on the road, they're very Jekyll and Hyde. They have their games where it's really sloppy and there's a lot of goals back and forth, and then they have games where they play like they do at home. I anticipate Vegas coming into this game ready, and I anticipate a low-scoring game, which usually means I'm wrong, and usually it's like 8-5. But I do look at this one and say, if you want an upset tonight, that's probably it. Because Nashville's looked so bloody good for the last, month, and Vegas is going to come in as a team that's had a middling record away from home. So it could be easy for Nashville to sort of overlook them. Not on purpose, of course. Nobody ever, purposefully overlooks the opposition. But Nashville could definitely find themselves up against it quickly. I'd look for, if Vegas comes out of the first period with a 1-0 lead, Vegas probably wins the game. Because Vegas can shut it down. Gerard Gallant, if he's not coach of the year with these guys in the playoffs, there's officially conspiracies against Gerard Gallant. Especially if you see Tom Rowe's name scratched in. Gerard Gallant's scratched out, and Tom Rowe's coach of the year. Tom, you didn't mess with these, did you? No. Are you lying? Yes. That kind of thing. All right. The final game of the night is the New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals. The Rangers, who are 15th overall, the Capitals are 11th overall. Very little to choose between them. Capitals 35 points, Rangers 32 points. So tonight it's one of those where they're looking to not fall behind by 5 and get within 1. And the Rangers, I wouldn't bet against them. And yet, 18,506 fans per game in Washington, that's pretty good. That's actually a pretty good attendance number. I didn't give Nashville's. Nashville's 17,144. I'm kind of surprised by some of the low attendance figures, but we'll get into that when we get into attendance, because not every building has the same capacity. So when you see these numbers, sometimes it's just a matter of not attendance in terms of fan excitement, it's just the buildings reach capacity. So Washington, with likely Holtby, Lundqvist has been confirmed for the Rangers. This is going to be a fun one. It's always fun when the Rangers and the Caps meet. Anytime it's an old Patrick Division matchup, they're fun games to watch. And I personally think Washington likely wins the game. Washington's been playing really well lately. Ovechkin's on a hot streak, and his line mates are too. Backstrom had actually fallen below a point a game at one point very recently, and he started getting it back together again. And that's after the exceedingly hot start that the Capitals had with Backstrom, Ovechkin, and Kuznetsov. And they all had kind of fallen off, but that started picking up again. It's impossible to keep that going the full season. Even Tampa, with Stamkos, Kucherov, weren't able to do that for the full 82. They've already had a couple of slow games. Staying hot with that one line can be very difficult, and that's something that I'll talk about in a video today as well. But for now, for this, 5 matchups, 5 games, choose your winners. I will be able to see a majority of the action tonight. There will be a live stream today as well. I'm not sure when or about which. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the jersey live stream today or if I'm going to do a game live stream. But there will be a live stream later today, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let me know your winners. And no, I didn't get as in-depth as I did yesterday. This is a 5-game one. I wanted to just do this one quickly. There's other things I want to get to, and I'll get to those in the next video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you again soon.